How is it going, guys? I'm sorry again that I'm being a little bit late with this video. I have decided to let go of my schedule since there is a lot going on for me right now with school and everything. But I will still try to release one video every other week. But for the time being, I won't be following a schedule. Now that that's out of the way, let's begin. So in today's video, we will visit a game that has had a really rough start, and it has been rough for a couple of years. But the developers stuck with it, and in September, they released an update for the game for the better or worse. We will see. The game we are talking about is Cyberpunk 2077 and the DLC Phantom Liberty. Cyberpunk was first announced way back in 2012 with a trailer that came out in 2013. After a few years of silence, a new trailer was released in 2018, but in 2019 is the year where fans got to know the release date. Everyone's eyes was now set on the 16th of April 2020. After that, the game was pushed back to the 17th of September and then the 19th of November. But it didn't stop there. After this, the yellow text box telling fans that there will be another few months in development, which was on the 10th of December. I think I read somewhere that Cyberpunk is the longest delayed game along with a few other games. The game was developed and published by CD Projekt Red and was released for the platforms PS4, Stadia, Windows, Xbox One the 10th of December 2020 and was then released to PS5, Xbox Series XS the 15th of February 2022. After a long time of waiting, the date finally came. On the 10th of December, the game was released and it was a rough one. The game suffered from bugs, glitches, rendering problems. It was so bad that Sony removed the game from PlayStation Store. I meant it when I said it was a rough start. But on the 21st of September 2023, CD Projekt Red released the 2.0 update, so that begs the question, is it any better? Well, we can definitely see that the game looks better than it did in 2020, and we no longer have flying cars, same NPCs walking around, rendering problems, or NPCs hovering in midair. All I can say is that a lot has improved since it was released, and I can say that I was fully immersed in this game. Visually, the game looks fantastic, especially during the nighttime when all the different colors of light shine through the dark corners of Night City and no freeze lag or dropping frames. The game ran as smooth as butter. Just walking around in this game and looking at all the light effects was a joy for my old eyes. As you walk around in the world, you can hear cars driving by, people talking, the music from bars and other establishments. The ambient sound makes the world feel alive. In the neon lit district of Night City, the hum and glow of holographic advertisement giving these areas a unique audio-visual character. The user interface is just so user-friendly in this game. You can easily open your phone to answer a call and get the info you need for a gig. You will also receive text messages from people where you send back a finished text that can vary from 2 to 3 choices of how to answer, which makes the game feel alive and that something is happening behind the scenes when you're not around. The menu is looking good in my opinion, but the best thing is that the only time you need to enter it to actually do something is when you need to exit the game or change settings. Everything you need is one key press away, which makes it very user-friendly and easy to handle. The map is looking good and it is an actual map and not just a blue background. This is the way to do it. No doodads, just a simple map that can easily show you directions from point A to point B, just like all maps should do. We do have loading screens in this game. But that is only during fast travel. But you can't fast travel whenever. You have to visit a data term, which is spread out in Night City. Walking and running in this game is so satisfying. Everything is smooth, and if you run past people, you actually bump into them, which makes the screen tilt in the opposite direction from the NPC's location. We can climb over all obstacles as long as it's within our reach, which was very helpful when you needed to find a safe route through an enemy base to gather intel. Overall, the movement in this game was very satisfying. Driving in this game is by far the best experience I have ever seen in an RPG. It just flows so smoothly, and sure, in the beginning I was struggling with smashing into walls while turning or crashing into other vehicles. There were many times when I could have used fast traveling system where I instead chose to ride my bike into the sunset towards new adventures. There are also a lot of secret vehicles you can find in the world if you would want that, and you will also be able to get some during some missions you do depending on the choices you make. The standard view is first person, and if you don't like that, you can always switch to third person while driving. When outside of the vehicle, you are always in first person view. Now we get to the good stuff. The combat was very likable, fighting with guns, knives, baseball bats, and my favorite, katanas. I usually like the stealth approach, which I did a lot in this game, but I could also enjoy going full Rambo on stuff. Slicing and dicing from left to right was just satisfying and joyful. But switching between weapons was sometimes troublesome. Sometimes you had to scroll multiple times before the switch happened, but I think that probably could be my mouse. Could have used the 1 to 3 keys instead, but when you need to switch fast, you automatically scroll. But I can say that I enjoyed the combat and stealth mechanic in Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077 does not only focus on combat with guns and melee weapons. You can also install cyberware, which will give you a great boost in a lot of different manners. We have 10 different body types where we can place cyberware, and all of them have different amounts of slots. These cyberwares have different effects that will help you both in combat and outside of combat. For example, you can add optics that will automatically connect to your equipped weapon, so when aiming it would highlight enemies behind cover for a certain amount of percent of your field of vision. Others will give you more armor or health and much more, but you can't just install them. You need to visit a Ripper Doc, a medical practitioner that focuses on cyberware. You can find these scattered around in Night City. In Night City, there are a lot of things happening. People walking around, standing and talking, cars that go left and right, and to be honest, it does look very lively when you walk around. Sure, there is still some repeating NPC that you will notice if you really look, but when it comes to the main NPCs in the game, they are so well made. They look good, they sound good, and their personalities differ from one another, so they don't feel like the same person in a different body. As you meet all of these differences, you will notice that choices do matter in this game. Choosing what to do or to say can lead to a new friendship or something else entirely. Some will just be small changes, while others can be major ones that will affect the game's ending. Overall, the main NPCs are very interesting in their own way, and there was never a moment where I felt bored or annoyed with anyone. But what about our protagonist, V, also known as Vincent or Valerie, depending on gender? First off, I have to say that the voice actor for V did a great job both for the female and male character. You could almost feel what the protagonist felt during certain conversation. I've always loved RPGs where the main protagonist is voice acted. Depending on what choice you make during character creation, you will notice some differences in V's personality, but that is only in the opening section of the game where they will tell you a backstory for your character. You have 3 choices here, and those are Street Kid, Nomad, or Corpo. I started out with Street Kid, but I did also try both Nomad and Corpo. I like that these choices were there, and that depending on your choice, you will get different dialogue options that can favor you in certain conversations. When it comes to character creation, Cyberpunk does not hold back. There are so many different choices you can make, and I love it. Different hairstyles, beard styles, tattoos, colors, weird looking eyes, scars, and changing your private area. It was amazing to play around with this and try to find something that looked a little like me. Well, at least someone with a beard and a man bun. In the end, I was really happy with the character creation. We have 5 different categories in the skill tree. Body, which determines raw physical power and fortitude. Reflexes determine your movement and how well you evade attacks. Technical abilities determine how good you are at technical stuff. Intelligence determines your net running abilities. And finally, cool determines your stealth and assassination abilities. We have perk points that you use to advance in your skill tree in a certain category, and then we have attribute points which you can use to raise the attribute from 3 to 20. which is maxed for every category. You can play the game however you want, but maybe not as easily if you put your points in the wrong place. I wanted to play a stealth-based character, so I focused on putting points in cool and intelligence categories. And then I did technical and reflexes, since my goal was to stay hidden. I didn't need to focus on body that much. But as I progressed, I sometimes had to fight outside of stealth, which was difficult sometimes, but as long as you play smart, it shouldn't be a problem. And you can also focus on using cyberware to get more armor so you can take more hits. You earn XP by doing things in the game. Slicing people will progress shinobi, hacking things will progress your net running, and so on and so forth. As you do this, you will get skill rewards that can be plus 10% headshot damage, plus 10% damage against vulnerabilities, or it can be a perk point. I really like this way of leveling up, when you feel that things you do in the world will make you better at said thing. We can also use our cyberware on enemies called quick hacks. We can use it on cameras, vending machines, basically anything that is hooked up to the net. You can distract enemies, set them on fire, reset their optics, making them blind for a short time, and a lot of other things. We have something called Cyberdeck RAM, which are these blue stripes. These show how much RAM you have left after using a quick hack. If you run out, you will have to wait for them to cool down. This world is full of different things you can do. We have gigs that are smaller missions that you can do for different NPCs in the world that vary from assassinations, kidnapping bad guys, saving people, stealing cars or equipment, and also downloading or uploading viruses to different networks. If you get tired of gigs, you can hunt for cyber psychos, where your mission is to knock them out so the quest giver can collect them to analyze why they went psycho. You can kill them, but then you will get a smaller reward, I think. The mission is to not kill them, but you can if you want to go back. If that is not enough, you can also hunt for free cars that you can collect in the world. They're not shown on the map all the time, but I could see them on the map if I were close in range. And if you still want something else to do, you can always do NCPD events, which is when a crime is underway and you can choose to stop it. It's also a good way to hunt bounties. And if that's not to your satisfaction, you can go and do side missions that you will find in the world. They are actually really nice to do, and they can go on for a while, where you do one thing for them and then it takes some time, and then they will call you again so you can progress in the side mission. Finally, we have a game developer that understands how to make follow me quests. Instead of running back and forward like an idiot, you now slowly walk after the person you are supposed to be following, which was just so nice. It didn't work all the time, but most of the time. All I can say is that there is a lot to do in Night City and you will not get bored. I really enjoyed this story, and it's so sad that they won't do anything else with this game now that Phantom Liberty is done, as I've heard. You will get choices in the game where some of them can be a minor change while others can determine how it ends. You will meet people through the main story that will have their own problems, agendas, and goals, and it is your choice if you want to help them out or just skip them and move on yourself. This world is just amazing to be in, and I couldn't find anything that was boring to do. I had so much fun with this game, and I would love to play it some more. I played through the main game before I bought the DLC for Cyberpunk 2077. While I loved this game, I have to say that when I installed Phantom Liberty, I started to see things that I've seen before a few years ago.
Biz is all on the side.
Holy shit. That is some rendering problem right there. Holy shit.
No NCPD.
Huh. Oh, come on.
Phantom Liberty is a rendering mess. We have people that look like, I don't even know what they look like. Areas where the ground is being created right in front of our eyes. People that for 1 second isn't there, and then the next you're standing in a crowd of people that just appeared through the ground. Lip sync problems, cars not working properly. We have frames dropping again, so I had to lower my graphical quality just to be able to run the game. And the worst thing, the DLC story is actually very good and interesting. I played through it all and I just loved the story, but since the game didn't work properly, I couldn't do the side missions. I just wanted to be done with the game, and that's a damn shame. When I restarted the game, I realized that the whole game was like this. I had to uninstall the DLC and then it was back to normal. In this game, we have new attributes called Relic that offers access to powerful new capabilities for cyberware. For example, if you are detected while crouched, the time will stop for a few seconds so you can hide from the enemy and still be undetected. There are a few of these, but I rarely used them since I mostly could handle most things without them. I really did have fun with this game, and I think it was a blast to play through for most part. It's just sad that the DLC had too many of the issues that was before. Try to remove it and play the main game. I never saw these things before I installed the DLC, so that's something you can do if you had similar issues like me. So what do we think of the new patch 2.0? I mean, it's a big improvement from what it was a few years ago, and for me, the game ran like skates on ice. For me, it was the DLC that brought back the nightmare of rendering problems. Phantom Liberty introduces rendering and performance issues impacting the overall gameplay experience. Technical problems like lip sync issues, cars falling from the sky, frame drops, NPCs looking like they come from a game from 1998, but luckily the main game without DLC installed have improved things like visuals and reduced bugs, immersive atmosphere especially at night, user-friendly interface and menu, satisfying movement mechanics both on foot and while driving, enjoyable combat and stealth gameplay, detailed cyberware system offering diverse customization options, well-crafted main NPC with distinct personalities and goals, protagonists with compelling voice acting and customization options, comprehensive character creation with wide range of choices, skilled progression system that allows for different playstyles, abundance with content with side missions, intriguing and varied storylines with impactful choices and different endings. The final verdict for Cyberpunk 2077 plus Phantom Liberty will be an 8 out of 10. People might think that I should have reviewed the main game and DLC separately, but I think otherwise. Since the 2.0 update was released at the same time as Phantom Liberty, it is probable that people bought the DLC before replaying the main game, and that's why I did them both at the same time, and that's why it will be included in my score of the total experience. In my opinion, the DLC pushed back the score since it introduces a lot of issues that we had when the game was first released. But I also want to say that they released a new update 2.01 that was released the 5th of October that hopefully fixes many of the issues I mentioned in this video. But since I played it before it was released and I did test it out, and the first thing that happened was that a car fell from the sky, so my score will still stand. What did you think about Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty? Was it worse or better in your opinion, and why? Put it in the comments. Anyways guys, if you got this far into the video, I thank you for watching and hope that you will come back for more reviews in the future. If you do have a moment to spare, why not go and check my other reviews? It would really help me out. I will end this video with a thank you, and remember, life is too short to play bad games. Let me help you find the best. See you guys.